Ladies and gentlemen, Breakout will be chaired by Dr. Shwana Gubani from Iran. Presenters, so for Breakout, please be alert of your scheduled presentation time. Dr. Shwana, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hi, hello, can you hear me?
So I'm fine. I hope everyone is fine too. So welcome everyone on board. So I'm very excited for your presentation today. And if I don't mistaken, our first presenter is Miss Sharifa Najba, right?
Yes. Okay.
I'm ready anytime she's ready. So dear Sharifa, as you know, you have 15 minutes for your presentation. I mean, with all this like 5 minutes of Q&A. So please manage your time. Good luck with your presentation. And please don't forget to introduce yourself. And in case you have any international co-author or co-presenter as well.
Hi, I'm very good evening. My name is Najwa. So my research subtitle Barriers to Occupational Balance in Daily Living, Perspective of University Students with Physical Disabilities. Okay.
My dear, can you talk a little bit louder? I can't hear you very well.
Occupational balance. Okay, so the definition of occupational balance is the perspective of individuals having the right mix of occupations in their daily life. Occupation here by means is the activity that we do in our daily life. For example, dressing, going to classes, going to work, going to leisure activity. That is activity. Okay, so occupational balance is a core concept in OT and it's very crucial and key to the health and well-being. So for university students, maintaining the balance across the domains I have mentioned before supports students' performance, academic, social relationship, and also personal growth. However, for students with physical disability, they encounter distractions to the activity daily living (ADL) when they want to in the transition of getting into the higher education or throughout the higher education. So this distraction restrict their ability to participate in their activity daily living and create the risk of occupational imbalance. Okay, so what is the barrier for that? The barrier here often being viewed as the structural barrier, for example, environmental factor. But actually, the barrier for them is coming from their disability itself, from their routine daily living itself. So previous study has addressed this, but only highlight the institutional support and policy rather than the lived experience of the student with physical disability itself. So the objective of this study is to explore the occupational barrier experienced by the public university students with physical disability in their daily occupation. Okay, so how OB is being viewed in the higher education? So OB is highly strongly linked with the student with physical disability, mental health, resilience, and also the academic performance. And OB for them often been disrupted by the demand when they want to manage their health and functional limitation which related to their academic responsibilities. So the daily occupation of the student life, as I mentioned before, occupation identified by the ICF is as a self-care, mobility, productivity, and leisure. So for students, the ability to participate in the occupations create the basis of a role fulfillment and identity. So studies highlight that meaningful engagement support academic development, social relationship, and well-being. While if there is a distraction, it creates a tension for them to balancing the role and responsibility, create stress, and also a disturbance in the occupational balance. Okay, so students with physical disability encounter diverse barriers which limit their engagement and limit their functional independence, and also compromise or constrain their opportunity for them to interact with others for their social growth, which at the end increase the risk of withdrawal from the occupation that they value more. So the barrier to occupational participants is often overlooked in the university policy. Next. Okay, so for the methodology, this is a qualitative study, progressive sampling method, And the instrumental tool is the guided questionnaire. Constructed based on the ICF framework and aligned with the research objective. So we're getting the approval from the disability support unit from each of the public university that we approach. And then when we get the data access, we examine the eligible participant and we invite them to the research. And then the interview lasts for 45 to 60 minutes. And then via online Google Meet, as the students preferable online, and also according to their timing free also. So the analysis is used as a thematic analysis. It's plotted by the end people, and also followed the broad account 6 phase. Okay. So the total of the participants is 10, as the data has been separated after the 10 participants. Oh. Okay. As there is no new insight emerged from it, so there is a summary of the profile of the participant. Okay, we go through the barriers of the occupational balance. First thing is occupational performance challenges. Okay, we can see here is a student with physical disability often have a disruption throughout their daily life in all of these domains. For example, we look at the ADL. That's the ADL. For students, they cannot squat, so they often have difficulty in toileting, and the floor is very slippery, and they cannot even changing their clothes in the fitting room in the public, so they cannot participate in those. And they're very dependent in the IADL, which is they need to ask for others' help, and very challenging in the leisure, social participation, and education, as they need to adapt. They don't have hands, so they need to adapt by writing using their leg, and then at the end it lead to the cramp. So it's very difficult for them. So for the functional mobility limitation, they have a difficulty in walking. They have a gait problem, they cannot walk straight, and then they bump into other people, difficulty in climbing stairs. They even have a difficulty in changing position, for example, solat. So commute and mobility obstacle in the university also be a barrier for them. So functional status constraint, which is health deterioration and physical discomfort. So their health also deteriorate, and this contribute to the barrier, and they often have a pains, cramps, fatigue, and cortisol. And then next is the limited, they feel very limited and very restricted to participate in a certain occupation. For example, they cannot even withdraw money because for the participant that is blocked, they're very short, and then at the end is very higher than her. Then so she give her password to the other stranger just to help her withdraw her money. So there is a very restricted there. So next is lead to the occupational deprivation and withdrawal, which is they often avoid a certain task that is physical strain, physical demanding, and also unsafe, and then lead to the disengagement. Okay. So we go to further discussion. Occupational performance challenges. Okay, students with physical disability face the challenges across their daily living. They need adaptation. They need assistance. So occupational performance challenges has a significant impact in their daily life. Why? Because it directly affects their independence, their self-esteem, and also the ability to participate fully in the university life. So the study also said that restricted in ADL reduce the autonomy, predict the unmet needs, and everything that is in the bubbles. And then the health deterioration and physical comfort. Okay, functional status constraint is a very crucial because physical capacity underpins the occupational performance. Why? Because they limit the barrier limit their capacity to sustain activity over the time. hence interrupt your routine task, and then affect the efficiency of completing the occupations. So the functional limitation is actually intercorrelated with the academic and environmental demand. So this make the student with physical disability need to increase their effort, increase their strain when they are performing the activity. Okay. So functional mobility limitation, again, this is a very distinct and persistent concern among the student with physical disability, as in the Malaysian university, the hilly campus are very common and they often excavate more challenges for them. And then the university lifestyle, transition to the classes, to the building, so very challenging. So similar studies in Canada and Malaysia also highlighted that inaccessibility restricted the self-care, the social, and also the academic. Okay, so why a physical mobility limitation is very persistent barrier? Because it's a very persistent barrier to the occupational engagement, as it affects the efficiency and competency in completing tasks. Even if the student want to or motivated to want to do the activity, but this barrier actually restrict them. So when the functional mobility restricted, their participation in other occupation is diminished. Okay, so for the limited participation, okay. So physical limitation and environmental barriers. These two restricted the students to engage into their meaningful occupation. Restricted. They will have to choose, oh, do I need to modify or limit my participation in certain activity? They will often prioritize, oh, okay, I think I have to do academic or self-care tasks rather than going socialize with other people or play football. So this create the imbalance in their occupational patterns and may impact their psychological well-being, the autonomy, the independency, and then the self-efficacy. Okay, then when the student with physical disability experience the repeated and prolonged exposure to the barrier and the persistent barrier, and then also the reduced opportunity, so this leads them to have the occupational deprivation and withdrawal. So they will selectively just pick, oh, I want to involve in this activity, I don't want to involve in this activity. So actually, those activities that they are selectively want to involve is actually contribute to their identity, competence, and social inclusion actually. So over the time, it may cause their occupational imbalance and limit their opportunity for their own personal growth and also skill development. Okay, so I want to highlight here, occupational deprivation is actually not merely their choice, but actually a consequence of the impact from all the barriers that they have to face. Okay. Okay, so for the conclusion, okay, so the findings highlight that yes, of course, there is an environmental factor, but the barriers is not stop there; it's go beyond that. So that's why I highlight this part, occupational barriers, and then the occupational barriers shape their daily routine and influence their long-term occupational identity and competency. So, what is the suggestion or recommendation? I would suggest the holistic intervention program that address both their individual capacity and also the environmental supports that will promote or will increase their participation, their occupational balance, resilience, independence, and at the end, quality of life. Okay, thank you.
Right, thanks, dear. So good job. So any question from the audiences, please? I can't see the people. So in this case, if we don't have any question from the audiences, I just wanted to check. Oh, okay.
Okay. Hi. Just want to ask your opinion regarding the current situation in Malaysia, accessibility for this physical disability for current university? Is there any improvement compared to last 10 years?
Okay, I like your question. Okay. So this is just a part of my research. So another part, I also address the environmental factor, which is the accessibility and also the social, how the social stigma is to them. So we'll focus on the accessibility. Okay. How do we say? Great news. Okay, for the University Advantij Ampun Chalam Selangor lah. For University Selangor has been a great job in accessibility, in improving. But however, in a rural university, can I say in Sarawak, in Perlis, there's a very poor accessibility. However, they also have a intention to improve more, but not so fast that they can receive lah. So it is actually, if I want to conclude, it's actually yes and no. Yeah. So I hope in the next, when I publish my paper can contribute, that can highlight that the accessibility is very important in the higher education, as this student is very they really face a lot of difficulty because of it. Even though they're just a student, but student is actually our generation that will arise. Yeah.
All right, so I thought you can't hear me. So my dear, the topic is very interesting, and it's very necessary for all the nations to focus on disabilities. Very good topic. It's a all right, okay. It's a very good topic, and then there are good point and a little bit of weak point about your presentation, which I'm trying to share with you. First of all, I really appreciate that you put all your sources, wherever you, anywhere in your slide that I can see, you put some information. I can see where did you get the information from. It's very helpful for the audiences. But there are a few things that we have to make it a little bit clear with each other. When we talk about research background, we really need to know about what is the total number of disabled students overall in Malaysia. So just like you have to give some information, we have to have a clear picture. How many percent of the students, just give me a second, I can't see, right? I can't see it in your presentation. How many percent of the students are having these physical disabilities? So when not everyone is in this field. So there are some researchers among your friends, audiences, or even me, that we haven't been involved with your research. So when we talk about research background, you have to give us a clear image to show how important it is. And one more thing is that I appreciate your research, but can you tell me what is the significant point of your research? What made your research different from other researches that people have done regarding disabilities? Because this is, if I don't mistaken, starting 2016, like UK universities, many of the European universities, even Malaysia, many research have been done in USM. That is, they spend a lot of fun to do researches regarding physical disabilities among young generation or elderly people. So can you tell me what made your research different than others? What was your significance?
Okay. I also go through all the research, but there's no other research that highlight or address the student with physical disability occupational performance. By means, they often say that they have restricted in accessibility, facility, university, or I have restricted in ADL, but actually it is deeper than that. So the finding in my research that they have a part themes, it is actually highlighted that okay, the barriers the barriers for these students, why actually they they cannot participate in the occupation or in their activity they living, because actually their functional status itself, because actually the disability itself. So that's number one. And then actually because of they themselves have a difficulty to, for example, for dressing, they even have difficulty in that. So that is for the self-care. And then next is because all of these persistent barriers and exposure make them lead to like they are not interested to participate in leisure activity. For example, when they are going through all the classes, they are commuting in the university area, and then at the end of the day, they will they say, oh, I don't want to go to the leisure activity, I don't want to play sports, or I don't want to hang out with my friends because I already tired, because my body capacity is just limit that, and then they want to reserve the energy for another next day. So so that is why I can see from this study, oh, it can get a clearer or more deep understanding why actually they restricted or they avoid such occupations. Because other study will just say like, oh, they have a restricted in leisure or restricted in social participation, or they don't want to socialize with other people. But actually, there's the reason behind that. And then some more. What more? Okay, and then some more. They actually, I mentioned before, they have occupational deprivation. Occupational deprivation means that they're motivated to go or to participate in the occupation or the activity task, but the barrier that I have mentioned before restrict that. And that is not merely by their choice, even though they choose, oh, I don't want to go there, I don't want to go here, I don't want to go with that. But actually, it is the impact of the barrier that they face. That is not their choice actually. So I think my research or this presentation or this paper it highlight more deepen on the lived experience of the reality of the student with physical disability itself, rather than the environmental factor, rather than all difficulty in occupation and what so. Yeah.
I don't know what to say. Just like for me, it's very predictable. I mean, I expected something a little bit like more specific, something that would reveal some more information, first-hand information to the government or the body, that they can do something for that. Anyway, and the last thing that I wanted to share with you is that your oral presentation seems to be very interesting for the audiences. I could hear the reactions, but my suggestion to you is that try to make your graphic of your presentation a little bit like less. It's maximalistic. It's like lots of pictures, the background. I mean, it's like a little bit confusing. Try to make it a little bit more academically professional. All right, so good luck with your future studies, and I hope we can have more specific data in your future studies.
Thank you very much, Lecturer.
Can we have our next presenter, please? So welcome, my dear. Please introduce yourself, and if I do mistaken, you have international co-presenter or co-author. Introduce yourself, and Dr. Johnny Wong, please, and we are ready anytime you're ready.
Good evening to all, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Irene. Today I will be presenting alongside with my international presenter, and I'm not alone today. I'm with my supervisor presenting with me today, and my co-supervisor from on the line. Okay. Based on the title, I will be presenting on the evolving heritage, focusing on the alteration trends in Selangor's pre-independence mosques. Okay, for the background of the study, most built before 1957 in Selangor are more than religious spaces. They are architectural time capsules. Built during the colonial and early post-colonial periods, they showcase Islamic symbolism, local craftsmanship, and colonial influences. However, modern intervention often driven by functionality, which leads to compromise their heritage value. Through this study, we aim to investigate trends in architectural alteration by understanding how these changes impact the integrity of the heritage structure. Okay. Okay, for this slide, I will invite Dr. Jody Wongso from Padang to.
Okay, I will continue this presentation. Talk about the concept of MOS. In this concept, I try to present the one concept about the MOS. The term of MOS means a place of prostration. The MOS doesn't adhere to the predetermined architectural style or form. The act of prostration itself fundamentally shapes its spatial identity. This is particularly significant because Islamic worship, we call ibadah, is not confined to a specific architectural setting, whether enclosed or open, but is instead bound to the designated times of prayer. But central of the concept of the mosque is the Qiblat that orients both the worshipper and the structure toward Makkah. The Qiblat is typically marked by the mihrab. About the mosque in mosque style and characteristic in Malaysia, we know Malaysia is one of the countries actively involved in preserving and conserving heritage building, including place of worship such as mosques with unique design and high historical heritage value. Based on the historical periods, we know, according to the Ahmad, there are three main styles, the vernacular style, colonial, and modern. And also we can classify it from the system for mosque architecture in the Malay archipelago, identifying 7 distinct styles. For example, a traditional vernacular, Sino-eclectic, colonial, North Indian, modern vernacular, modernist expressionism, and postmodern revivalism. This is according to the Tajuddin and Utabarta. About the architectural style, identified by previous researchers may serve as useful indicators and can be cross-referenced on site to identify how about the stylistic similarities in mosques built in Selangor during the post-independence period. As a result, mosques have different architectural styles, each with distinctive features. Next, please, Kairin. About the relationship between mosque, space, and architecture in pre-independence Selangor and Kuala Lumpur. We have 3 mosques here. For example, Japanese influence we see in earlier mosques in Klang, and also Masjid Mak Rufiah in Sabak Bernam, and Byzantine influence in Masjid Diraja Sultan Sulaiman. from the Japanese imprint, we can see about the architectural style from the multi-tiered roof. Maybe reference to the three cosmic realms, what the underworld, the middle world of humans, and the upper world of good spirits that were part of the Japanese spiritual world. Also, beside the mosque have a pavilion, ubiquitous form in Java dedicated to community gathering, a prayer hall in mosque and rectangular inside. And also we can see from this picture about the round pillars support the roof structure, rich carving on top, smooth and without decoration below. And if we see in the Byzantine influence in Masjid Diraja, we can see from the window, thin windows, tower, and veranda, they use it. And also we see in the plans of the mosque, they have some ornamental pool, mihrab, the main element, mimbar, courtyard, porch, and main prayer hall. Next, please, clarification.
Alright, thank you, Dr. Remy. Okay, I will be presenting from the 2.5 alteration between independent mosque and onwards. Okay, from the literature, we managed to see some common alteration that we done from the past literatures, which is the direction of the Qibla, and ablution depth, and also expansion of praying area. Okay, based on the Qibla orientation, the corrected Qibla is aligned with the placement of carpet lines without eliminating the existing mihrab, ensure the correct direction of the prayer. And next, for the ablution depth, this design demonstrates that various ablution depth options adapt existing text to suit the site condition and design. As for the expansion of the praying area, this part is the most frequently cited in the literature on the mosque alteration. The expansion of the praying area is designed differently depending on the context and constraints. This type of alteration visibly alters the most concept. Next. Moving on to the methodology. To achieve the objective, we use a qualitative approach, analyzing by archival records of this mosque and conducting site visits to observe them. And out of the 432 mosques recorded as of 2023, only 54 are believed to have been built before 1957. However, since the data on heritage mosques was collected after the separation of the Kuala Lumpur, as per the territory, this study also intends to include all the mosques located in Kuala Lumpur as well. The site observation were conducted in each district of Selangor and Kuala Lumpur. Okay. The data would not have been obtained without an interview. Therefore, an interview was also conducted to validate the alteration made to the mosque. The scope of this architectural alteration study will focus on selected mosque types that have retained their original elements. Most from the pre-independence era that do not fall in this category will not be included. Okay. So when I with my main study, it is then narrowed down to selected based on their heritage status, including their status as warisan kebangsaan, warisan, and also their heritage listed in the inventory provided by Jabatan Warisan Negara. And also, for the last mosque, I intended to take consideration with the current, that is intention on developing upgrading works on the mosque. As the royal
Please manage your time.
Management time. Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on. Okay. This slide shows the frame area and the windows, which the common alteration visible on the side. Okay, based on the field observation, all 10 most expanded their frame areas to accommodate the number of congregants during Friday prayer at the time. These are some of the trends visible, which is on the courtyard, extended prayer area integrated with the existing design, within the porch and also elevated prayer area. As for the windows, modern windows were added in different materials depending on function and window profiles. Blending powder-coated sliding windows with existing wood windows is also present on site. Moving to the doors. Most doors were modified, often with secondary layers such as safety grills installed over existing doors to preserve the original design. It was also noted that some of the coated sliding doors are also visible. And next, for the additional roof structure, as for the extended frame area made, there are also some additional roof structure being constructed on site. As for the emission taps, okay, moving. Okay, sorry. I remember the Qibla orientation mentioned in the literature review. Among the 10 most studied, only 2 have aligned their Qibla direction. But most of these realigned Qibla are mostly covered on the Sabak Bernam district only. And for the ablution taps are typically installed at the entrance, and a new ablution pool is also being constructed, utilizing new materials to replace the old one, thereby enhancing practicality. Okay, next, for the ramp, they were installed to enhance accessibility for individuals with disabilities, featuring various finishes. Okay. Alright, for the discussion, this table summarizes the all 10 most studied and shows the types of alteration commonly made in pre-independence mosques of Selangor and Kuala Lumpur. Most claims in the literature are evident in the Selangor and the Lumpur mosques, which feature extended prayer areas, additional roof structure, and ablution tap as the most common alteration done. The alterations made are mostly interconnected. The extension of the prayer area would add to the roof structure, protecting it from the weather, similar to the ablution pool, the additional roof structure, enclosing the area to protect it from the weather. Okay, alright, you will notice that almost retain some of its original elements. They also embrace modern upgrades to meet evolving needs. These include mechanical upgrades, such as air conditioning, which often require closing the opening, the original opening. Although these upgrades were made, the most community actually recognize the value of its mosque and make efforts to preserve their originality. These changes reflect a balance between heritage and modernization. The communities value their mosque identity, but also seek comfort and inclusivity. Okay, for the conclusion, understanding alteration trends is essential before undertaking any upgrade or conservation work. Some existing design with specific architectural design may not be compatible with contemporary design. Hence, an architectural study should be done conducting before any alteration are made without diminishing their significance. We believe that a clear set of guidelines is necessary to manage future intervention and prevent inappropriate alterations that could diminish their cultural significance and cultural integrity. Thank you.
So thank you, my dear. Any question from the audiences, please?
There's no question.
All right.
Yeah, Qibla direction. So it's always, the direction is always the same. So I didn't get, can you explain what do you mean that two mosques have changed their Qibla direction? That means previously people used to pray on wrong direction?
Actually, since the mosques are built before the pre-independence, and some of the districts in Selangor they built their mosques without proper technology at the time, and there's basically the mosque built within the community and didn't construct by the authorities, but however, with the current technology, the Qibla direction easily be made and access to correct it. But however, the design of the existing mosque basically didn't change much. The orientation doesn't change that much, but only two.
Only two mosques, if I'm not mistaken, according to your research, only two mosques have changed their direction.
Okay, I think I will pass it to my Prof.
Hi, Dr. Sharana. It's like it's not the Qibla direction, it's been changed from one direction to the next direction. Actually, because of a slight difference in the degrees, actually, because of this was built by the community at that time, they don't refer to the right degree. So now, when they know the correct degree, then they move. They change only the interior to make the carpet line to the Qibla direction. There's no major changes to the whole architectural style of that building.
All right. So one more thing I can see in your slide discussion. So I can see that you refer to improvement in mechanical appliances towards thermal comfort and ventilation, which is very, very important factor in the mosque. I know that you have written in a sentence form, but what I would suggest you is that thermal comfort is very important in the mosque. Maybe it could be one of your main factors to do the research instead of just, highlighting it at the bottom of your presentation in a sentence. It could be something more important to focus. So that's just a suggestion. Otherwise, I'm very fine with your presentation. It's very informative and well done.
Thank you, Doctor.
Are you ready?
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Please introduce yourself, and in case that you have any co-presenter as well, good luck, and don't forget to manage your time.
Okay. Okay. Right. Okay. My name is Christina Samira Muhammad Saudi. So I'll be presenting my research about degradation mechanism in mechanical components of CCS facilities, focusing on the Malaysian environment. Okay, a little bit background about my study. Okay, so referring to the Malaysian 12th plan and also net energy transition. Malaysia target to achieve net zero by 2050. So one of the plan to achieve this target is using a critical technology which is called carbon capture and storage. Carbon capture and storage technology. Okay. However, there is one engineering concern from this technology, which is on the material degradation and corrosion failure from the tropical environment. So the objective of my research is to study the degradation mechanism of the CCS facilities operating in Malaysia. My focus is on the corrosion behavior and material degradation, and also we would like to look at the mitigation for long-term reliability of the CCS technology. So for the literature review, there are two sections, which is one focusing on the CCS in Malaysia, and another one is on the material degradation and implications. So for the CCS facility in Malaysia that already exists, there is only one, which is Kasawari Carbon Capture and Storage. So Kasawari CCS is target to estimate is estimated to capture 3.7 million metric tons of CO2 per year once it has been fully commissioning. Then Malaysia's CCUS Act also has been passed into legislation this year. Then based on research by J. Song et al., there are 6 key factors for material selection to design a CCS facility. Then on the material degradation and implications of CCS, we can see that there are stress corrosion cracking and fatigue failure. Corrosion also increases in a warmer marine environment, which is this is what we will face in Malaysia. Then the estimation of the implications of material degradation is there will be estimation of corrosion cost approximately 3 to 4% of global GDP based on research conducted by Ianuzzi et al. Then corrosion of the CCS facilities also could contribute to additional CO2 emissions when there is CO2 leakage. So methodology of my research is I've conducted this research based on literature review, based on past research review through journal search based on Elsevier and MDPI. So the keyword selection I've been using is carbon capture storage, tropical marine environment, and corrosion. So I've been screening and analyzing a few papers, and only I've come up with the findings of the study. So these are the findings from my study. So there are I summarized all of the study in 10. Okay, so from this table, I've summarized the findings and also the discussion. So from the previous table, so there are 4 findings, which is the first one is on the tropical marine corrosion, where in tropical marine environment, we can see that carbon steels corrode rapidly, and also chromium alloys can form protective rust layers and resist a better corrosion. Then on the CO2 transport and storage, stress corrosion cracking will increase with presence of oxygen and hydrogen sulfide. So hydrogen sulfide, this one will be coming from acid rain. Okay. Then strict impurity control need to be impurity need to be strictly controlled, which is it needs to be below 100 ppm. And then on environmental factors, corrosion rates to the CCS facilities is driven by humidity, chloride deposition, and also monsoonal wind. Then we are looking at the advanced approach to control the corrosion in CCS facilities, where we're trying to look at machine learning that can offer improved prediction of the corrosion severity. Then, okay, so these are the factors that could lead to the degradation mechanism. So there are three factors, which is the first one is the environment factors, consists of humidity, salinity, and monsoonal wind. So in Malaysia, Malaysia is having a tropical environment. So humidity humidity is one of the key factors that will impact the material degradation. Then the second factor is the material properties, which is carbon steel. Carbon steel is having low material resistance compared to chromium alloy material. Then for the operational condition, so for CCS facilities, the operational condition is fully carbon dioxide. So this can lead to more material degradation if it is not properly controlled. If the impurities is not properly controlled, so the stress corrosion cracking can lead to more material degradation, and also higher temperature also could lead to more material degradation. Consequences of the degradation mechanism is there will be safety risks to the operational of the CCS facilities. There will also be climate risk because of the potential of the CO2 leakage, and then these two risks can lead to more operational costs. So based on current research, there are a few unresolved issues, which is the first one is there is inadequate international guideline for tropical climates. We have the international guideline to design a CCS facilities, but that the current guideline that we have is only for temperate climates. So there is no specific guideline for CCS facilities designed based on tropical climates. Then there is limited long-term CCS studies based on marine environment and SCO2 exposure. There is also underdeveloped predictive models that can monitor the real-time climate variables that can be used to monitor the effect of the climate and the effect of the climate to the material degradation in CCS facilities. And the last unresolved issues is lack localized standard and design practice. So in Malaysia also we didn't have one localized standard or design practice to design the CCS facilities, as this CCS is a new technology in Malaysia. So for the conclusion, it is recommended for Malaysia to have specific guidelines as we are going to focus on the CCS technology. So we need to have a specific guideline that focusing on the material selection, corrosion monitoring, and maintenance strategies, so we can ensure that these CCS facilities can operate in a safe operation for a long time. And also we could look into predictive models where we can integrate the environmental dynamics of Malaysian environment and to extend the component life cycle and enhance the infrastructure reliability of CCS facilities in Malaysia. Okay, that's all from me.
Right. Thank you, dear. Any question from the audiences, please?
No.
All right. So my dear, can I ask you something?
Yes.
According to your presentation, you mentioned that going back to the slide methodology, so you put, I don't know, it's like a little bit like confusing to me. finding is a part of your methodology, or is just like you put something in your slide? Because I didn't get the point. Finding is not your methodology, is it?
Yeah. Okay. So after I've screened and analyzed all of the papers
So-
that I've been reading, then I summarize it into the findings.
So what we do is that either you have to say, this is the structure of my research, or you just say it's your methodology. When you say it's methodology, so you don't put findings in the methodology. So it's going to be like your research structure, if you want to put other things in your methodology as well. And according to your methodology, which carbon accounting platform or carbon footprint analysis software have you suggested?
Sorry, carbon?
So which software or platform have you suggested to analyze the carbon footprint or carbon accounting?
Oh, okay. So if it's specifically in Malaysia, then we can look at the Kasawari CCS platform because it is the first CCS facility in Malaysia.
All right. So was that in your presentation?
Yeah, I didn't put that recommendation.
I think it's very necessary. Yeah, it's very necessary to put, and it does a little bit of like more explanation for the audiences. I'm 100% sure that you have done a very good research and it should be in your paper. But since we don't have your paper, the only thing that we have
and to extend the component life cycle and enhance the infrastructure reliability of CCS facilities in Malaysia. Okay, that's all from me.
Right. Thank you, dear. Any question from the audiences, please?
No.
All right. So my dear, can I ask you something?
Yes.
According to your presentation, you mentioned that going back to the slide methodology, so you put, I don't know, it's like a little bit like confusing to me. Finding is a part of your methodology, or is just like you put something in your slide? Because I didn't get the point. Finding is not your methodology, is it?
Yeah. Okay. So after I've screened and analyzed all of the papers that I've been reading, then I summarize it into the findings.
So what we do is that either you have to say, this is the structure of my research, or you just say it's your methodology. When you say it's methodology, so you don't put findings in the methodology. So it's going to be like your research structure, if you want to put other things in your methodology as well. And according to your methodology, which carbon accounting platform or carbon footprint analysis software have you suggested?
Sorry, carbon?
So which software or platform have you suggested to analyze the carbon footprint or carbon accounting?
Oh, okay. So if it's specifically in Malaysia, then we can look at the Kasawari CCS platform because it is the first CCS facility in Malaysia.
All right. So was that in your presentation?
Yeah, I didn't put that recommendation.
I think it's very necessary. Yeah, it's very necessary to put, and it does a little bit of like more explanation for the audiences. I'm 100% sure that you have done a very good research and it should be in your paper. But since we don't have your paper, the only thing that we have is your slides and your oral presentation. According to your findings, I could know that you have good information in this field, but we really need to have it in your, how do we call that, in your slides, my dear. And in the last slide, which is discussion and recommendation. So carbon footprint analysis is something that you can achieve without governmental support. Maybe you could put one of your suggestion and recommendation to the government that they have to do support. It can be planning from the universities or having some fund or coming up with future researchers, right? Try to involve the government in your recommendation. Otherwise, I'm fine with your presentation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. One more thing. I forgot. Since you mentioned regarding tropical climate that you couldn't match it with international guideline. How about Singapore? They have almost the same climate. And I'm aware that they have done research in the same field. Could you match with the guideline in Singapore?
Okay, but during my during the research, I didn't found the specific guideline for Singapore also. So I'm not sure whether they are also if they are using the international guideline, like the one for temperate climate, or they have developed their specific guideline for tropical climates. So I need to do a deep research on that.
Please do, my dear. All right. Good luck for future studies.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So can we have our next presenter, please? Sin Lam. Miss Sin Lam, please introduce yourself, and in case you have international co-presenter, please manage your time, and we are ready anytime you are ready.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sin from Utah. I'm presenting a study on training acoustic and resonance Act. Residents speaking on 2021 climate management. So in Malaysia's rapidly urbanizing regions, drainage systems are often overstrained. So the pace of development has exceeded the design capacity of existing infrastructure. So during the 2021 Klang Valley flood, this weakness become visible. Maintenance issue, poor coordination between agencies, and limited preparedness all contributed to the crisis. So a study aims to connect these physical and institutional dimensions by looking how drainage, adequacy, and response timing affect resident satisfaction. So we set 3 objectives. First, to assess the link between timeliness and satisfaction. Second, to compare perception of effectiveness during response and recovery phases. And third, to examine how drainage conditions and property relate to satisfaction and recovery times. So together, these objectives build a complete picture of urban flood experience. So this slide highlights how local engineering initiatives and public communication contribute to community awareness and flood mitigation. So the images show some pits and pump upgrades shared by the local adult Taman Sri Muda, who posted these updates on social media to inform residents of ongoing drainage improvement. So the other coordinates between local communities and the state government. This coverage featured in Sina Harian 2025 demonstrates how transparent communication between local leaders and engineers can strengthen trust and engagement between the community and government. Such efforts reflect a growing culture of shared responsibility, where residents, professionals, and authorities collaborate to improve flood resilience and confidence in the urban drainage system. This study uses a mixed method, which is a quantitative and a qualitative studies. We combine both methods to understand the flight experience more completely. First, we carried out household survey with 88 respondents. This allowed us to measure patterns across the community. And also, for example, how long people waited for help, how much damage they faced, and how satisfied they were with the overall response. Next, we conducted 18 semi-structured interviews with residents, local representatives, and community volunteers. So this interview helped us to capture real human stories, and not just data. So for example, fear, uncertainty, and cooperation that happened during and after the flood. For the analysis, we use SPSS to apply 3 statistical tests, which is the chi-square test, to see whether waiting time for 8 was related to people's satisfaction level. Wilkinson sign rank test to compare how residents rated government effectiveness between the response phase and recovery rates, and spirit correlation to explore how drainage adequacy and property damage influence satisfaction and recovery time. We also check our consistency of the survey item using combat alpha, which is more than 0.7, which means our questionnaire was reliable and respondents' answers were consistent. So we integrate some technical data with the SPSS review experience by using the qualitative approach. So our first key finding shows that 8 timeliness has a strong and statistically significant relationship with resident satisfaction. We found, using the chi-square test, we found that when 8 took longer than 3 days to arrive, over 80% of the respondents rated the response as poor. So you can see the more than 3 days here, 86.4%. If the 8 comes late, so the residents feel they're not satisfied with the government response. So in contrast, people who receive early help, so it's less than a day, they express far higher satisfaction and trust. So this pattern shows that during crisis, time matters just as much as resources. People value quick, visible action. So interview also shows that within the first 24 hours, you could build a sense of reassurance and control. This tells us that speed and presence shape public confidence in government response. The Wilkinson so the key finding to the Wilkinson sign rank test is a non-parametric test used when the data are paired and not normally distributed. So it compares two related samples, which is rating the government effectiveness during the response phase and the recovery phase. So they want to see which one they feel that the government was effective, or was it during the response or the recovery. So with a exact value of minus 5.95 and a P of less than 0.01, we found a statistically significant decline in perceived effectiveness This means that while immediate response efforts were viewed positively, confidence dropped during the recovery stage, possibly due to slower communication or prolonged disruption. So this test quantified how the residents feel, the trust and perceived coordination weakened over time. And the third finding. The third finding is the human correlation analysis. There are three strong patterns here. First is the poor drainage condition will lead to higher property damage. Second, as damage increased, the satisfaction dropped. And also, and third, household fear facing severe damage took longer to recover. This confirms that physical infrastructure plays a critical role in social resilience. Residents often express that improved drain and maintenance could have prevented much of the damage. So addressing drainage issue is not just an engineering task, it directly influences people well-being and recovery timeline. When I was a volunteer as a cleanup in Taman Sri Muda, there was one family who has IKEA furniture, and she just, it was quite new, the furniture, she didn't want to clean it up, and she said, I'm just going to move out of this place. So, and then, so this is a collaboration with, institution collaboration with SASI France. The students taught deep social network analysis using Japanese software. So it's done by the two French interns. They found out that the communication is centralized around the key officer, which is JPS district engineer. So it shows that the coordination was highly centralized. Most decision in communication flow just within a few offices. This is on the hub and detention point construction. And very few individuals actually hold critical information. It slows decision making and reduces transparency. The firstly identified three main policy implications, and also this is citizen with. So these are the qualitative analysis. We use boats to rescue neighbors, and we updated each other on WhatsApp. Heat sirens and regular drain cleaning. In this year, in April 25, there was sirens, 10 times the siren. The flood happened in 2021. Pump was restored, but still yet there's flooding in Taman, and they around 10 sirens was given out. So the policy implication is that we need both drainage adequacy and coordination play equally important roles in shaping public satisfaction and recovery. And so this study contributes to the broader vision of building flood resilient cities through both engineering excellence and human-centered design. So flood resilience must include communication, empathy, and trust. Thank you.
thank you. Any questions from the audiences, please? We have very quiet audience today. Oh, my dear. So in this case, can we check few comments together? Sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh, what did you say?
Okay, so I just wanted to ask you a few questions.
Yes.
Going to the title, when you say resident perspectives on the 2021 Klang Valley flood, don't you think the perspective is very wide? You didn't want to use and you didn't want to make it a little bit more specific. What do you mean by perspective? It's very subjective. Perspective is very subjective. Are you going to focus on which perspective? What I'm saying is that it's very wide. The title is very wide.
Right.
I suggest you to make it like, narrow it down.
Okay, sure.
The title is like, go ahead, my dear.
Yeah, so we actually did some quantitative analysis on the.
I understand, but we have to have some clue from your title. What I'm saying is that maybe the title could be a little bit more specific. I can see what you have done in your research. I could see the questionnaires and interviews that you mentioned, but the title is very wide. When you say, like, residents' perspective, towards what? It's just like, it's very wide. The title should have a little bit of like, more, you have to be a little bit more careful with the title. And then, according to the methodology, so the quantitative survey, the questionnaire survey, so it's going to be like, 88 household. So how about the interviews?
Yeah.
The interview was conducted only with the resident or with some engineers or with the government sectors?
We went to the nearby restaurants around the area, and so we interviewed because we only take those who experience the flood. So because in the restaurants and nearby shops, it's more relaxed. But we go to house, we make face for visitors. So that's how.
What I'm saying is that the interview has been conducted only by the resident.
For those who experience the 2021 flood, at nearby restaurants, we have shops, groceries, and restaurants nearby that area. So we go around, and it was a challenge to get samples. So we have to repeatedly go back to the area where they sell some small business who sell food along the roads. We interview them, and also people who are dining at the shops and restaurants who dine around in the nearby restaurants. We only pick those who have experienced a flood. For those who hasn't, then we just discard the response.
All right. One more thing. Key findings 3. Can we go to that page? Damage and recovery.
Yeah.
So for my understanding, all the questionnaires and interview have been conducted with common people or residents over there. Do you think, can they answer to your question very clearly with no mistake when you ask them what percentage of your property was damaged after the flood? Is it like, I was thinking if you ask a housewife, how many percent of your house has been damaged? If she would say like 70% or 80%, could you prove that? It's just like, isn't it kind of a question that you would ask through some survey analysis done by some sectors, some specialists. Because when you ask residents, it's very common that I'm not saying that they will exaggerate it, but since they are like harmed by the flu, what will happen is that when you say how many percentage, it's like the word is too heavy for questionnaire when you are targeting the normal residents.
Right.
Do you get my point? What I'm saying is that maybe the
Yes,
question should be.
it was really, but the damage was very serious. The flood water went filled up the ground floor story, the first story on the ground, all the way up. So they could only be on the second floor. So the damage was very bad.
I know that it's very bad, but sometimes good and bad are subjective. So when we are doing some academic research, we have to be very careful. When we ask normal people, I mean, someone who is living in the house and they have been affected by the flood, you ask them how many percentage of your property was damaged. They can't tell you exactly how many percentage because they have maybe lack of information.
So we put in liquid scale. So that's a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So what I'm saying is just suggesting that you can say, you could make your questionnaire a little bit like, I mean, maybe you could explain to them if your mechanical and electrical equipment has been damaged, let's say 20%. If your facade has been damaged, like, I mean, 10%, just to give them some guideline that they could answer more more clear to your question. Or you could just say that, how bad was the damage from 1 to 5, something like that. But when you ask them about the percentage, it's like, I mean, too heavy.
Yeah, that's right. So we're going to be more specific to structural damage and non-structural.
Or you have to, like, I mean, break down for them. What do you mean the 100% damage? So what is 20% damage? What is 40% damage? So anyway, thank you.
Thanks so much, Dr. Sorry.
No, that was fine. Thank you so much. That was just a comment. I always try to remind all the presenter that whatever we discuss here is to help each other. So can we have Dr. Tahira Bibi?
Can you hear my voice?
I can hear your voice, but I cannot see your slide.
Oh,
If you share your screen, we are ready for you.
Right, can you have the slide on your side right now?
I have it with me. Good luck and try to manage your time, please.
All right, thank you very much. I have to pronounce your name correctly. Miss Jefferson, Dr. Sharoda. All right, and thank you to everyone who's still here. All right, bear with me, bear with another presenter. So, our title, for your information, Dr. Sharoda, we have our collaborators here, Dr. Dayaratne, online, to present with me on the slide number 2 and 3. So, our title will be, first of all, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and salam sejahtera. Okay, investigating the impact of organization learning mechanisms on employees in a government company. Very interesting, but I'll share with you later. So this will be the second slide. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alright.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Alright, Dr. Dayaratne, the floor is yours.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Tahira. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm a co-presenter from UNP Indonesia, and I will start my presentation by explaining the first slide. That's the importance of management in shaping employee performance, which is management is responsible not only for supervision, but also motivating and developing employees so they can work effectively and meet organizational goals. So this leads to the concept of a learning organization, which is the organization that continuously builds the capability of its people through ongoing learning. Employees become more adaptive, innovative, and aligned with the organizational change. This research focused on a government-linked company, GLC, in Johor, Malaysia. Next slide, please. On this slide, I will briefly explain the outline of our study, which is the main research aim is to determine the level of a learning organization in a company that is a publicity list. In particular, the purpose of this study is to investigate how the environment can influence learning organization. Furthermore, the purpose of the research is to investigate the strategies which is the learning organization determines the employee learning and development needs, as well as the methods by which they fulfill those demands. So to achieve these aims, our study is guided by 3 key objectives. First, in what ways does the environment influence the learning organization? And second is, how does the learning organization identify the learning and development needs? And the last one is, how does the learning organization meet learning and development needs? And this is the end of my presentation. They will be continued by Dr. Tahira. Dr. Tahira, it's yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vidya. So I will continue from here. All right. So as all of you realize that we're going to start back. So the topic will be looking back on the organization learning mechanism. So for your information, we have 3 main points here: learning environment, okay, in an organization, identifying learning and development needs, and meeting learning and development needs. Okay, with 3 different key factors that we are looking in this research. And of course, when we're talking about organization learning, it took from the learning organization concept, okay, from the academic scholars, and of course it will be defined as a company that facilitates the continuous transformation. Okay, it depends on the company mission and organization goals. What are the transformations that needed? Okay, and then the next one will be the company will be able to help, to instigate, to instill the systematic learning, innovation, and teamwork. Right, moving on to the next slide. And of course, we have done our research design based on quantitative research, and the sample is 34 from 56 of respondents, which is in the small company. Okay, and the respondents are from operational supervisors, management, and some of them are managers. Okay, and the instrument is actually based on these 3 key indicators. Okay, hold on. Learning organization, which is learning environment, identifying learning and development needs, meeting learning and development needs, and all constructs are reliable and valid for analysis. Okay, so if you can see here, even though this demographic information is not important, you may see the age for 50 and above, only 1% is actually 50 and above. Okay, that shows, and only actually having professional degree. So it will come across to the discussion later on. Okay, and you may see the highest one based on the objective, the learning environment, okay, the multi-skill, okay. The next one will be the understand the need skills needed, and the next one will be the training is useful for work. Okay, we will discuss here the best part of this research is everyone understand the needs to progress in your own career. Okay, but not everyone understand the mission of the organization. Why actually you are working here? Each one of us, instead of being academician, we have different roles. Okay, but the point here is the environment that creates you to be a good worker. It won't be the same if you don't have a very good environment. That's mean in this research, if you can see the higher mean for everything, means they understood the assignment that been given from the company. It will be very rare because this GLC is in Johor and it's still needed so much so in progressing, but they grow so fast. Okay, but I cannot reveal the name. Okay, and identifying learning and development needs, company aware of each of the employee skills required. They cater if you think that we are actually lack of communication skills, so they will send you for training. in order to make sure that they can face the audience or the customers, the client needs. Okay, because Johor is actually located too nearby to Singapore, so they need to make sure that their employees needed to understand and can communicate. Understand is one way, and to communicate English. Okay, and meeting and learning and development needs. Training, of course, is relevant. To see a company, a GLC, looking high up to training is not easy. Okay, because the top management support is very important to make sure that, of course, we are here today to make sure that we are in looking on for our career development, right? So it's part of our training. Then the next one, conclusion, very fast. So organizational learning mechanism is significantly influence employee performance. They without fail giving the employees, the 56 of them, bonus. And consistently is giving, right? Strong top management support enhances learning culture. This one need progress. Not every company, I think not each one of us is coming from different background. Culture is something that need to be adapted every day. We come here this morning and we stay here until now. It's a culture. Not everyone can fight the battle. So those who actually still here are the warriors. Wow. I need to give big grand applause to all of you, because it's not easy to be here until the right of the time of the end of conference. So thank you very much. Okay. So continuous development and conducive environment, sustain motivation and productivity. For that, the company should be able to endorse a mission that worldwide known to all the employees. And the key message is learning culture. If you ask me, if you don't have any culture in your life, you won't be here. Same of the employees. It's just like the GLC is very lucky to have all those employees to be in one company. And they succeeded. Okay? And of course, you have to maintain the organizational performance. And the recommendations will be to strengthen collaboration between management and employees for L&D planning, and encourage continuous knowledge sharing across departments. We can do this, you know. We are doing this right now in this conference. Okay, we are networking for almost everyone. And future research, maybe you can go and examine other learning, because we are actually going for decades doing this organizational learning. So we can foresee any other factors that will influence organizational learning, and study dynamic capabilities and cross-cultural comparisons. Okay, I'll show you this picture is actually, it's not related to this GLC, it's actually related to other GLC. But if you can, I cannot zoom it first, but their motto or their mission is put people first. Very interesting, right? So this company is actually in Mulu, Sarawak. Okay, so they put people first, and the culture is very nice. But we have to inhibit, we have to instigate how to make sure our culture, our learning culture, to be followed by everyone else. That's it. Thank you very much from me. Any questions from you now? See, my friend always have one question. I'm not sure whether she's my friend or not. And I have to open mine.
Yes, I have a question. I have always come across these two terms, organization learning and learning organization. So why I ask this, because I'm the employee who always love to learn my organization, but sometimes the organization don't want to learn about me. And end up, we are talking as an employee as a whole, because if the employee does not understand the organization does not understand the employee, so and the employee will leave for another organization. So if this process continuously happens, it will, it's not good for the organization, because once you receive a new employee, means you have to train them. So training is a cost. So what's your opinion on this?
Alright, okay, thank you, Dr. Sharna, for your information that my friend and account, aka the president of AMER, but I don't know why she dared to ask that question, but okay, I'll try my best. Okay, she was with me all the while, but again. So the question will be, Dr. Rohana, what's the difference between organizational learning and learning organization, and thought
we are still in differences with whatever we have in the term of mission and vision of the organization itself. Okay, very interesting questions. Okay, yes, if you go and read the articles, you will see these two terms, organizational learning and learning organization. Okay, we are here today. Everyone is online. Dr. Dayaratne, okay, and every other people, in fact, the chairperson itself, we are in a process stick together what we embedded in our core mission of the conference. Okay, so that's process we call organizational learning. Alright, but if we say that every conference, okay, every conference need to have this, you need to come here with this kind of theme, need to come to here with this, and the procedure that the AMER already put in the procedures and everything. So we have to follow the procedures, you know?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, the slide should be 10 pages only. Okay, this thing you need to have this, and very simple, like our chairperson of the conference said just now, early morning. That is a learning organization. You have to follow the rules and regulation of that organization. But again, not everyone can follow the learning organization because the process is not being instilled well. Because each of the employee have their kind of mentality, because we are actually in the generation where these people, young people here in front of us, coming from the generation Alpha, Beta and whatever so on, we are in the millennial boomers, you know, we have so much so different with other people and we cannot accept the differences. So we have to put one fine line between these generations and come to one fine mission. If you say that we need to follow the procedures, we have to follow the procedures.
Yes.
Okay? So when we say that the organization need to achieve these goals by end of this year, you need to achieve together. And the organization, in other way, have to show the how to do it. Then the process will come to a structure. The structure is learning organization. I hope I answer your question. My God, like one more. Yes. One more question. Okay. Alright, what's the question? Okay, so letak phone dah sejuk dah ni. Cuba tengok ni. Sejuk ni.
Since Doctor, you said that different organizations have a different learning organizations, right?
Okay.
So my question is, we have organizations that based on races. For example, a Chinese organizations or a Malay organization. So do you think that the different races will affect the learning organizations?
Okay, thank you for your question. Alright, first thing first, I need to correct this. Learning organization, not all organization will claim that they are actually learning organization. But they can be said that they are in the process of to be learning organization. Because if you want to be a so-called learning organization, you have to go down further from top to down to top. Okay, because everyone should be in alignment. Okay, so that's one thing about the definition lah. Okay, learning organization. You can see Toyota, you can see Google. Okay, Google is more the company, you do have slides in the company. Okay, alright. So that is a learning organization because they are so open, they are so adaptive, and they are so good in providing the best to the workers. However, back to your questions, multiracial, diversity. I'm quite sure we are having this kind of difficulties because some of us is teaching in UiTM, some of us is teaching in multiracial universities. How to adapt? It's good for you to, I think the last slide I said that, cultural transformation. Okay, you need to understand the cultural indifferences. Despite that we are having Malay, China, sustainable learning and culture, sustainable organizational performance. That's key indicator. Yes, Dr. Rana.
What if our boss do not understand the culture? He understands the culture well, but
he bukan sesi training yang kau tahu. Okay, sorry Dr. Raina. Okay, what boss? Okay, thank you. Dr. Sharuna, can I have the floor for a while? Okay, because it's very hot here. Okay, what if our bosses didn't understand
the culture itself.
Okay. You want me to sit nicely here? Because it's recorded. Okay.
No, we can
Alright.
delete the recording.
Okay. Alright. If your bosses is not nice to you and not because if your boss didn't understand the learning organization that has been aligned for all of you, the only one is didn't understand that part is him. You can't change him. Remember one thing, you cannot change people. Okay? Huh? You can't do that because the other bosses sees him as good. So as a HR, okay, previously I'm a HR in a private and industrial sector, what we can do is you prove your things with your documentation and your job. You make sure that everything you do, the other bosses know. That's the tips. Okay, you don't let alone yourself in the dark.
Yes.
You make sure it's not like you're provoking people. It's not as simple as this. You are doing something. You are doing to make sure that you are actually replying to him. Just a simple thing. You CC to the boss, excuse me, or you just forward that email to the other bosses that we are doing this. And CC to him as well. Acknowledge him in the process. So you are including him in the culture that you create to make sure that he or she should know that we are doing this together for the organization, not for ourselves. We cannot change people. But we have to do this for our satisfaction because we need the money to work there. Okay. I said satisfaction first. Then second is money. Okay? Right. And the third one is because we want to make sure the culture that we bring in will be embedded by all of people. Okay, Dr. Rohana? And back to your questions. I know I didn't answer your questions. You interrupt me one more time. Okay, multi-diversity people, you need to understand the culture between them. Even though you are Chinese or even though you are Indian, you need to understand the behind story of them because they are brought up in different situations. Okay, and again, you cannot change them. You must make sure the culture comes to them as well, and the bosses should know that we are trying to work together for the same organizational goals.
That's true.
Because we don't see colors here, you know. We don't see one mama stand by in front of here. No, you don't see that. Okay, you are seeing one academician here trying to present a paper. So we must show that. We must teach that, then those generations will follow us. For that, thank you. And Dr. Sharona, coming back to you.
Alright, thank you. I guess you are quite popular there, and you have lots of passion in your presentation. I really like it. I appreciate it. So since your Q&A was full by the audiences, I just make it very short. According to your slide, literature review. Can you go back to your literature review? So when you put a title of literature review, so what I need is it looks more like research background, focusing on aim and objective or something like that, but this is not literature review, my dear. You have to put some sources.
All right, we'll do that.
To support your literature review, right?
Yes. I think I missed my points by saying that I'm taking that from Shoya and she. Wait, I cannot pronounce the name properly. Foley and Batia. Sorry.
So what I'm saying is that the literature review slide is quite weak. I need more information, and I cannot see the relationship between the image that you have at the right, which you repeatedly use it in other slides as well, with the literature review. So my suggestion to you is that when you have all this like passion and then your presentation is very interactive with the audiences, why not you improve the graphic of presentation as well?
Understand. Okay, I should put it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Well done. So can we have our last but not least presenter, please?
Okay. Right. I'm Zuraida. Okay. Today's paper is on Hero at Work, investigating the effects of SciCap on Gen Z job performance. This paper is collaboration between UiTM Johor and Perbanas Institute, Jakarta. So Okay, so basically this is the flow of the presentation, and we have my co-presenter on the line, Dr. Sorry, so-called Pak Chong. I used to call him Pak Chong, from Perbanas. Maybe we can proceed with his presentation first. Then I will continue from there. Pak Chong?
Okay. Yes. Thank you, Ms. Zuraida. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. According to DOS and Department of Statistics Malaysia in 2023, about 59.2% of Malaysia GDP came from the services sector. Sorry, rising to 61.1% in the first quarter of 2025. The banking industry, one of the most important in this sector, is vital to support the economic stability and growth in other sectors. Banking naturally is forced to innovate. That's why most of banks start enhancing job performance to a new level by focusing on innovation. The idea involved HERO, the abbreviation of hope, efficacy, resilience, optimism, those elements of psychological capital. HERO is a positive psychological state that enabling individual to navigate the challenge and enhance their job performance. Additionally, we know that the entry of Gen Z, Generation Z, into the labor market introduced new employment dynamic, with this Gen Z emphasizing work-life balance, social responsibility, and continuous learning. We imagine that the Gen Z become a game changer in the services sector that makes banking industry management must align with Gen Z's motivation, ensuring human capital development in the banking industry to address Gen Z needs in order to move altogether the employees to reach the bank's goals. Based on those phenomena, the objective of our research is to examine the impact of HERO in predicting the job performance of Gen Z employees in Malaysia banking industry. Next slide, please. Okay. We studied from previous researchers such as Song, Hamdani, Natali, that they found that the job performance is affected by individual characteristics, job resources, technology, as well as engagement. Another researchers such as Ghazali, Afar, Effie, Bai, and so forth found that HERO impact on job performance through enhanced motivation, job engagement, job performance, reduced stress and anxiety. So we can say that high HERO improve job performance. Next slide, please. Okay, we use positive organization behavior, POV, as a grand theory. The POV suggests that organization can improve its employee performance by examination, implementation of their strengths and psychological capacity, as well as psychological capital. To solve our objective, we developed four hypotheses. First, hope significantly influenced the job performance of Gen Z employees in Malaysia banking industry. The second hypothesis, self-efficacy, significantly influenced the job performance of Gen Z employee in Malaysia banking industry. Third, resilience significantly influences the job performance of Gen Z employees in Malaysia banking industry. The last one, optimism significantly influenced the job performance of Gen Z employees in Malaysia banking industry. The research method, result, and consulting conclusion will be presented by Ms. Zuraida. Ms. Zuraida, the time is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Pak Chong or Dr. Dewan Toro. Okay, I'll just continue with research methodology. Right, in this study we use self-administered surveys that were adopted from two authors, Gopmas 2014 and Cycat from Luton 2007. The questionnaire being distributed to Gen Z employees who work in banks in Malaysia. The sample size of the data collected was 181 after the screening using purposive sampling, and we use LinkedIn to collect the data, and it covers 4 areas or 4 sections of Malaysia, and after that we analyze the data using Smart PLS 4.0. So here are the findings from the Smart PLS outcome. As for the measurement model, we can conclude as all the outcome fulfill the threshold, right? So therefore the study having a valid, convergent and discriminant validity. And then for the structural model, we conduct first collinearity check. It found that no multiple linearity issues. And for the hypothesis result, the R-square showed 51.5% variance are explained by the factors in the study. And for the hypothesis that being developed, two showed significant findings, which is hope and self-efficacy towards the employee performance. But the resilience and optimism do not show any significant findings. And then for the Q-square, which determines the predictive relevance of the study, showed 0.478, which is more than 0. And then the PLS predict show that this the model that being developed having a moderate predictive power. Okay, so this is the illustration of the bootstrapping result from the Smart PLS 4.0. As we can see, the hope and self-efficacy showing significant result with p-value less than 0.01 and having small effect size, whereas resilience and optimism are insignificant. Okay, so for the findings, it shows that the findings support the POB theory that highlight the importance of fostering self-efficacy and hope for to improve the performance of Gen Z in the dynamic setting, which is the banking sector. However, this study having some limitation, and we would like to also recommend it for the future research how to improve, which is like this study using cross-sectional study, which is we collect data at one time. So maybe future research can execute longitudinal research to further enhance the findings. Other than that, the study also just focusing on Gen Z in the banking sector. So future study can broaden the sample by incorporating various industries to confirm or to generalize the findings. Other than that, there are two insignificant predictors which are optimism and resilience. Therefore, it might be due to other factors that influence this element, which is either moderator or mitigator. So future research can incorporate the model with other supplementary factors. And then the study also using self-reported data that might create a bias. Therefore, future research can enhance or improve by incorporating multiple data sources to validate the findings, such as to get data or information from the supervisor or from other sources. Lastly, the limitation is the study using having individual level perspectives. So future research can broaden the scope by including SciCap at the team or organizational level. As for the recommendation, it is recommended to improve the work environment by prioritizing the self-efficacy development, also to foster a helpful work environment. As we can know, most of the banks in Malaysia having what's so-called protege or apprenticeship program that can be used to develop or enhance or improve the situation. Also, the organization, which is in this case the bank, can approach with more targeted human resource strategies for Gen Z according to their personality. Okay, so lastly, the contribution of the paper, first it enhanced the field of positive organizational behavior, and then it also directs the leadership in cultivating an environment that promotes hero, since the SciCap or hero being neglected, so-called, from the training. And then lastly, sorry, I'm having sore throat. Highlights the importance of organization prioritizing intervention. Okay, so this study is basically being funded under SRP grant, as I said, collaboration between UiTM Johor and Perbanas. That's all for my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any question from the audiences or any comment? Okay. So, my dear, I just wanted to check with you a few things. Thanks to you and your co-presenter. The first thing is suggestion. It's not a question. So when you say SciCap and use it for the first time, I would suggest it to make it like psychological capital. Yeah. So the word SciCap in the title, it's not very proper because you have to make it like, full. Make it like full name, psychological capital. And then after that, when it comes into the main body, you can use the SciCap. But in the title, it's highly suggested to make it like psychological capital. SciCap is psychological capital, right? So in the title, we use the full name, and then when it comes to the main body, you can make it like, SciCap only. And then when it comes to the literature review, when you're talking about Generation Z, time by time, they vary, and they changes in their characteristic. So that's why when it comes to the literature review, I would suggest to update your sources. For example, Generation Z in 2007, most probably they have different ideas, right? So update your resources, please. I mean, sources, please. One more thing, the Generation Z, they are by WHO, they are mostly known as that they have always anxiety and depression. At the same time, their relationship with technology is very bold. So I can see that in the characteristic of Generation Z, you have mentioned their anxiety as well. But when it comes to the finding, I couldn't see, I mean, but just by saying that promoting the hero, the 4 factors of hero, is good. Everyone knows that it's good, but how it's gonna cover their anxiety? And then what is missing in your research to me, it's gonna be the effect of technology and social media. So because you cannot separate Generation Z with technology and social media. So but this is something that I miss in your presentation. Because I remember in 2011, if I don't mistaken, government of Malaysia have raised some fund to make some research how to manage the use of technology and social media among the interior design students in Kuala Lumpur, which I was a little bit involved with that. So what I'm saying is that we always have this issue with the generations that time by time that they are getting closer to the technology and social media. So but this is something that I miss in your presentation. Do you have anything in mind regarding the relationship between all this, like, I mean, bank employers that they are Generation Z and their addiction to social media and technology? Does it affect their work behavior or efficiency?
Yeah, Doctor, I did another study, not in this paper, which is competency of Gen Z, how the Gen Z competency, including the digital competency, influence their job performance.
So in this case, I would strongly suggest you to put it in your recommendation or discussion or paper contribution that you have done another research, or there is another further research focusing on this very important matter.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So I have no more question and comment. I wanted to thank Prof. Yusuf as always and all the presenter for having me. I really enjoyed all your presentation. And good luck with everyone's future studies.
Thank you again, Sharona.
Thank you. That was my honor. I really enjoyed today's presentation.
Take care, yeah? Take care.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, salam.
Salam alaikum. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Let's give it one.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Sharona, for chairing our breakout session 3, which is our final breakout session. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy your tea time. Okay, never mind. So, okay, ladies and gentlemen, now there's no short break. Okay, so for dinner, since we exceeded the time, so the dinner will commence at 7:30 p.m. Yeah, the dinner will commence at